Welcome back to the Dichotomy Diaries. I'm your host, Amanda Arnier, joined again by the lovely Ashley. Last week, we left off on my proposal. So this week, we're going to talk about that first. Let's dive in. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good.
Happy beautiful October day. It's finally sunny out.
It's actually the most beautiful day. And I took a tour to get here. I needed it. It's wonderful. But I'm engaged now in the storyline.
Yes, you are. And I feel bad because, obviously we talked a lot about, what you were anticipating leading up to that night. And, were you underwhelmed? How did you feel?
It's kind of split. I was underwhelmed because I was expecting it to be showy, like we talked about, and like over the top, filmed. I thought that he would kind of want that social credit, maybe. But at the same time, I was happy because he did it. There was part of me that didn't think that he would actually do it for some reason. So even though it was underwhelming, I was still like, this is a good moment. This means we're moving forward. This means he can see me in his future. Thank God. But yeah, so I guess we'll just talk about that night a little bit because he proposed and it was kind of midday. And of course, when you get engaged, you're very excited. You want to reach out to your friends. And I had called and texted basically everyone that I was talking with at the time, and no one answered. And I was sad. And so, it's like 2, 3 hours, 4 hours goes by, and he falls asleep on the couch. And I'm just kind of sitting there just looking at my ring. And like, I want to share this with someone. I want it to be a special moment. And I started thinking about the ring. So the ring actually was my mom's diamond from my dad, and it was reset into a silver band with smaller diamonds around it. And I started thinking about like, how much did this cost to get reset? Because throughout the past few months, I had really been sending him just like really inexpensive rings from websites online, gold bands, gold stone, or yellow stones, whatever. And I'm like, why did he spend this money to do this? Like, maybe he was like, oh, it's very sentimental. Well, spoiler alert, I know now that my mom had reached out to him at some point after we had a conversation with the bishop and was like, hey, I have my ring and you can have the diamond, we can get it reset. So she went about doing that back home in Illinois, and she paid for it. So the part about it being sentimental and all of that wasn't him. That was my mom. And she kind of, took over. And I love that. And I feel so thankful that she did that because I do love the ring. But I just didn't understand at the moment. I'm like, why would you spend, $1,000 or whatever it was when I've been sending you $100 rings?
Yeah. And something that stood out to me about that, because obviously we didn't even uncover that it was mom who got the ring until we were going through all the notes and trying to figure stuff out. And you had even reminisced and thought, oh, where did he get this money? And one thing that stood out when we called mom that she said was, well, I just felt so awful that you didn't have a ring yet and you were planning this wedding, and I wanted you to have that, and it was something that, would mean a lot to you. And it was just so thoughtful of her. But then it just made me so angry at Dick because I'm like, why did you get the credit for that even though too? And you did zero effort, but then still let you think that,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree. And I remember having that call with my mom it was like last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was almost like she didn't want to tell me that. Do you remember she kind of stuttered because I think that there have been a lot of moments like that where she picked up his slack, but I didn't know about it and had found out later. And I feel like she felt bad for doing that. But at the same time, you're just doing it with my best intention, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I ended up making, a post on social media, hey, I'm engaged. And that was nice. I did get a call back from one of my best friends at the time, real late in the evening, and she FaceTimed me and she was really excited. So that made me feel better about everything. So we're engaged now. We have a wedding date and we're engaged. And so we start moving forward with that. The rest of May was really a lot of just kind of quality time together. Anything that had been questionable as far as us being concerned didn't really feel exacerbated during that month. We went to do wedding registry stuff, Crate and Barrel, and that was exciting. I mean, that is a very exciting thing to do. We're picking out stuff for our future home. I would say that there was a lot of future faking in that though, because everything that, we had the little scanners, right? And he's scanning stuff that would go into a huge house. And he's like, well, we're going to have a big house soon. So we should get this, we should get that. Okay. All right. Well, let's work on that then. And things started to be delivered very soon after the registry was put up, which was cool. Money was still very tight. And so I thought about putting my car on that Turo app so that maybe we could make some extra money. Because I was working for paychecks, but I was mostly at home at the time.
What's Turo?
Turo's like, how do you explain it? So it's like a rent-a-car service, but the cars are privately owned. So like if you wanted to rent your car out, you could make some extra money throughout the month. So I cleaned it. I did that. I posted it on there. And I think I got like one rental, which it wasn't a lot of money, but whatever. We tried. And lots of wedding planning. So his mom was in Utah, so she was doing a lot of stuff remote. My mom's in Illinois. My best friend is in Phoenix, and so we're just kind of trying to figure out what does the food situation look like, music, decor. And because we were very, very low on cash, a lot of the stuff that we were looking for the wedding was going to be secondhand stuff. It was kind of like a bohemian themed wedding.
That's cute.
Yeah, it was super cute. So I really like thrifting and vintage shops. So I would go out by myself and just go walk around and find things that I felt like would go with the theme. He never really wanted any part of the planning process, really. Like we had went and looked at the venue and that was great. He loved the venue. But as far as decor, it was always like, yeah, you just pick whatever.
Yeah, and it's crazy that you're doing this all with, what, 2 months till your wedding day?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Actually, it's like one because
Oh,
it's May,
May. Oh,
right?
you're right,
Yeah.
June.
So
Oh my
yeah, I
God.
really, really planned super fast. And again, on the guest list, we had like 50 people. So it was more like planning a big party than it was like I would think a wedding, like I mean, my first wedding, I had 400 people in a huge hall, but this was easier for me, but I felt like it was more important because this was real and this was going to be my forever. So I put a lot of time and thought into what I was going to have out for decor. So there'd be nights where I would go hang out with my girlfriend and we would do a lot of the planning stuff and Dick would go to church activities. He was going to church again and he would go alone. And I liked that. I felt like he's getting back to God because after we moved up north, I really felt like he just didn't show any interest and it confused me because like, hello, I'm baptized now. Why did you just like hit that threshold? And it's like, okay, good. I completed my task as a missionary of God.
Yeah. So wait, but were you sure that he was going to church activities this whole time?
Yeah. So he would send like photos. Like one of the nights I think it was like painting or something like that. Again, very adolescent kind of activities, but he would send me a picture of what he painted. So I know at least for part of the time, he was there and that made me feel good. And again, that's a good question because there's anxiety around us not being together physically at this point because of what has happened and, kind of just running away moments. And I'm like, very inside, I'm scared that that's
Hmm.
going to happen again. So the next, major thing that happened in May was EDC. And EDC, Electric Daisy Carnival, is one of the biggest EDM music festivals that there is. And it's in Las Vegas and it's 3 days. The tickets, he had told me, we were going to get from his best friend, the one with the big house and that he had kind of escaped to before.
Oh, and
And
was doing like his online stuff in the guy's bedroom?
yes,
Yeah.
that one.
Okay, okay.
And the thing about this guy is that he's kind of like an overpromise, underdeliver guy. He knows everybody, and can get tickets to anything. But typically, when it came down to it, there were no tickets. And so we're driving to Las Vegas, and it was like right when we got into town, he was like, "Oh, hey, Dick, I couldn't get the tickets."
Oh no, wait, you guys have been planning this for months because you
Yes.
thought this is when he was going to propose. So this was like
Yes.
on your calendar for a
Yes.
long time.
Oh, for sure,
Oh
because
no.
Millennium's playing at the
Mm-hmm.
main stage. Our song is an Millennium song, and I'm like, that would be the perfect proposal, of course. Well, now we have to buy tickets, but our financial situation sucked.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted, Dick wanted VIP tickets because we have to go big or go home. And that's where his friend was going to be at. So we couldn't even get GA. So I'm not even sure how he managed or we managed to scrounge up that money because I'm sure it was somewhere around $1,000 for the 2 tickets.
And so did he just present the tickets and was like, "Hey, I got them," and you didn't ask
No,
questions?
I think that he ended up buying them secondhand on some like Facebook group or something, and we had to go pick them up from Will Call before we actually got to his friend's house. So we got the tickets, and I'm like, okay, in the moment, and hindsight is 2020, right? There's a lot of things that still have to be paid for. I'm sure that there are bills late, but I'm in this moment where it feels really good. He's excited. I'm excited. It's like, okay, let's just like forget about all of like the external stressors and just have a fantastic weekend because we know when we dance and we know when we're raving, that's like a great connection time for us.
Right. And I mean, you're already there, I guess.
Yeah. It was
Okay.
like, okay, well, we have to go
Yeah.
now. I wasn't going to miss it for sure. I've always wanted to go to
Mhm.
EDC. So I was excited.
Okay, so
Um,
you got the tickets at least.
yes. And so we're staying with a friend. He is supplying all of the party favors. Um,
Can we have like a nickname for this friend? Because I know he's going to come into play later, and I feel like,
yes.
what do we call him?
Asshole? No. Um,
So he's best friend that Dick runs away to all the time.
yeah. We can call him Matt. Let's call him Matt.
Okay.
That'll work out well. So yeah, Matt actually asks us to go pick up a friend who flew in to Vegas and is going to go to EDC with us all 3 nights. So we drive down on the strip. I believe we picked him up from Caesars. And this guy got in our car and he's just so loud and vivacious and funny. And I'm just like, okay, it's not just going to be Dick and Matt, which they're kind of like bros and they hang out together. Now I have somebody that I can kind of link arms with and, frolic. So that was great. EDC night one was really great. I mean, walking into EDC as a first timer, so it's at the racetrack, so it's a big bowl. And so you walk in and you're above everything, and all of the stages and the lights are just down at the bottom. And it was like this overwhelming experience of, ooh, I'm gonna go be in that, and it's gonna be so great. And you can hear the bass, and yeah, just awesome. We took a lot of videos, and we really, we kind of just danced the night away until 4 o'clock in the morning. I think it ended at 5, but we tried to get out to avoid traffic. So first, night one's
4
in
in
the
the
books.
morning.
Yes,
Where do
I
you get the
know.
energy for that?
I know. I think that we actually stayed up super, super late all of the nights, but typically they have sunrise fireworks at the end of every night. But I'm like, okay, we can do that night 2 or 3. We don't need to. So we got back to Matt's house and we're just getting ready to go to bed. And there's this smoke alarm that's going off in the room. And so again, this guy has a gigantic house. The ceilings are probably like 20 feet tall. And I'm looking up at it like we cannot have that while we sleep because we're kind of rolling and it's hard to sleep anyways. So Dick is like, all right, come here, get on my shoulders and, take it down.
Ugh.
So I'm like,
why am I nervous?
dude, again, rolling still, and he wants me to do acrobatic stuff. I'm like, come on. But he's strong, right? So I'm like, there's no way that I'm there. This is going to be fine. He'll just hold my ankles and I'll be good. So I get on his shoulders. My body's just shaky, rolly. And I'm standing on his shoulders and I'm trying to reach the smoke alarm.
Which is probably so loud.
And actually, it's so much higher than I could even reach. So I'm like, I can't do this. And then I start to fall, okay? And so I fell. He's like 5'11". I fell from 5 foot 11 inches in the air, just flat on my face. And it like shocked me. And I like hit my elbow on the nightstand. And I was more like shocked than I was hurt. But he was like, cried. Like he was like, oh my God, are you okay? Like, I'm so sorry that I did that. He like held me like in his arms like a baby, like rocking me. He's like, I'm so sorry. I'm so, so sorry. And that was like the weirdest first time that I ever saw him like scared for me. And that's why I bring that up is because like in that moment I was like, oh wow, this guy really does love me. Like he was scared that he hurt me and like he's making sure that I know that.
Yeah, that actually was not the reaction I thought he would have.
Yeah, I thought that I thought that he would be mad that I fell, actually. But then it was polar opposite, and I was like, oh, okay. And again, I feel like this is kind of alluding to the small little kind of breadcrumbs of love moments that I get that I attach myself to because they come so few and far between. So that's why I think that is such a pinnacle moment for me is because I really, truly felt it there. I don't know.
But he was also on ecstasy. So
yes, that's true. And that really does make a big difference. Mm-hmm. So EDC night 2, during the day, I had kind of said something to him along the lines of, it's really fun to be here with you and Matt. And Matt's friend, but like I wish I had like a girlfriend here. And my best friend lived in Las Vegas for the past 8-9 years, the same amount of time I lived in Arizona, but we weren't talking at this time, which kind of is how our friendship has been. We're just like sisters and so hard-headed, whatever. And he was like, well, you should call her. And I felt uncomfortable doing it. And I didn't want to really, like, what if she said no, my day would be ruined. So he ended up picking up the phone and reaching out to her. And she was receptive and he invited her to come with. I guess Matt had extra passes and, he was like, she can just have one of those. I'm like, wow, that's so cool because now I get to enjoy this wonderful first time experience, not only with him, but with my best friend and catch up with her. And I was so excited for her to meet him.
Oh, she hasn't met him yet?
She has not met him. We literally, I don't think that we talked for a whole year before EDC. So we went and picked her up. And ironically, Dick had lived in the same apartment complex as her, like once upon a time. And so that was interesting. And they just kind of bonded over that. And it's just a lot of catching up. But again, this is a friend I've been friends with her for 20 years. So it's like we picked up where we left off. And I think she said something along the lines like, I'm so happy to see that you're happy. And like, look at this guy. Like he thought so much, he loves you so much that he reached out to me to have me there with you, which I felt like was really special. Mm-hmm.
Also, what's up, kitten? I know she's listening.
I know. Yes. And night 2 was great. Everybody, we have kind of like matching outfits. They're very provocative and revealing. He has his shirt off and everyone kept complimenting us and, saying stuff like, you guys are so in love. And Like, your energy's so good, your vibe's so strong. So it was very affirming of our relationship. Night 3 was the big night. That's when Millennium was playing, and I had gotten a extremely revealing outfit that, with my self-esteem as it's been over the years, it's not something that I would wear. Like, I would never pick it up, even try it on.
Okay, explain to me this outfit. I want to
Yes.
know every detail.
So essentially it was like a cap sleeve bodysuit. The bottom was, I don't think it was a thong, but it was just kind of like it snapped, whatever. The whole thing was mesh, like completely mesh. I think underneath the boobs had like some kind of fabric, but I had to wear pasties with it, if that.
Hot.
Yeah, I mean, it was very revealing. But knowing that, I mean, at EDC, some people just wear pasties, So I'm like, okay. And I remember asking him, like, is this too revealing? And he's like, no, you look great. You look fantastic. Like, okay, that makes me feel really good. So I felt so confident to walk around in this outfit, just essentially just butt ass naked with all of these people around. And I felt good. And I felt like he was looking at me like, you're so pretty. And so Millennium's going to start, and we are in the VIP area, so we're pretty close. We have, great view. And he starts playing all of our songs, and we know every single word to every single song. And so we're just like in this, what seemed like sphere that I wasn't paying attention to anybody else around us. It was just me and him. And we have videos of like us just across from each other, singing word for word to each other, hugging at the good parts, kissing, like looking up at the fireworks. It was a very like magical moment for me. And I felt like for him too. At some point, probably more than halfway through the set, he grabbed me and he whispered in my ear. And he's like, give me your ring. And I didn't wear my engagement ring. I had like a plastic or a rubber band, whatever, so I didn't lose it. And I'm like, why? And he's like, I'm going to give you the proposal that you deserve. And I'm like, oh, so I was right. He was going to do it here, And he's like, when he starts playing our song. So I give him the ring. He tells Matt's friend, here, take my phone and record it. And we're in the circle. People are all around us just like vibing and look at them. They're so cute. And Millennium starts the next song, and we're waiting for ours to come on, In Your Arms. And then the set ends. Yeah. And he didn't play our song. And so I didn't even get I didn't even get the secondary fake proposal.
Ew, but in retrospect, was it divine intervention? I don't know.
It might have been on this. He's never not played that song when we've seen him. So I thought, especially at EDC, I'm like, that's so wild that he didn't. But okay. I basically was like, oh, it's the thought that counts.
Yeah.
It's the thought, whatever. Yeah.
At least it was a good trip. You guys sounded like you had a lot of fun. He got to meet best friend Kitten. They hit it off. So
yeah, and now I'm in communication with her again, and we have a wedding date that's coming up. And I asked her to come to the wedding, which I think she was pretty shocked about. But I wanted her there. It's important for me to have my best friend there. So we head back to Arizona, and sorry, I can't see. The guy that we had picked up from the strip was actually, he wanted to keep in touch. He lived in Colorado. He was a luxury real estate guy, and we just vibed really well. He is actually from Italy, and he was on the Italian figure skating Olympic team. And so,
sorry, there's like a kitty cat.
No, it's okay. Everywhere. I know I'm a kitty cat jungle gym right now. And so we kept in touch, and he was like, I just felt you guys have the best vibe, and you really love each other, and you don't really see that nowadays. And I would love to come to the wedding, like, if that's okay. I don't know if that's awkward for me to ask. And I was like, No, dude, that's great because I'm meeting new people and my friends have kind of dwindled off, you know? So I'm like,
Mm.
hey, why not?
And was he like romantically connected with Dick's best friend, Matt? Because you guys, it sounded like a double date when
Yeah,
you first hung out, but I didn't know.
that's kind of interesting actually. So I had thought initially when Matt said go pick up this guy that we were going to pick up his boyfriend because I had never seen Matt with another guy like that. I know he's gay, but I'd never seen him date or anything. When this friend got in the car, he was telling us about his husband. So I'm like, no, it can't be. But I don't think that Matt knew that he had a husband. Or maybe he did, he just didn't care. But I think from Matt's perspective, he was interested in this friend, but the friend was like, oh God, no.
Mm,
No, no, no,
okay.
no. I'm here. We're friends.
Okay, well, so cool Italian ice skater guy. You guys are friends. He wants to come to your wedding.
Yes.
So you have a pretty fun group coming so far, it sounds like.
Yeah. Definitely friends, family, all of that. I do remember I did get really sick after EDC. I don't think that it was COVID, but it was just like I was sick, and I was nervous that it was gonna be COVID. And again, we have less than a month to plan now. So Dick actually had reached out to a friend, he said, that lived in Boston. Now, I had heard about this Boston guy a bit because when I had talked to him about like his testosterone stuff that he gets, he would say, oh, this is the doctor that prescribes it to me. Oh, okay, cool. I had no idea that this doctor was gay. I also had no idea like that they had a more than doctor patient relationship.
How'd you find that out?
So he calls the doctor and he's like, we want to make sure we don't get COVID. And at that time, they had like the COVID antiviral where if you take it, it basically would like shorten your COVID. So we got a prescription. We go and we pick it up from the store. And I see this guy's name on the prescription bottle. So I look it up and I'm like, okay, like they're friends, they're connected on social media. All right. And I basically just flat out asked him, I'm like, who's Sean? And he's like, oh, that's the doctor. And I was like, okay. So I just kept that name in the back of my mind. Well, kind of fast forward a little bit, like a few weeks, I remember seeing the name in an email that I got from Sleep Number. So we have a Sleep Number bed, right? And I'm like, why is Sean's name on the emails for the Sleep Number?
That's so weird.
Right, like it would say, "Hi Sean."
What?
It would say, "Hi Sean. Here's a deal for your Sleep Number bed." I'm like, that's what do you mean? And he's like, "Oh, well, he bought it for me."
Dr. Sean bought your bed?
Apparently,
Okay.
it's like a $10,000 bed. So now I'm like, that's a sugar daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Why else would a strange doctor buy a $10,000 bed? Like, what do you mean? So, of course, we commit that name to memory just for future needing. The rest of May, there's just like a lot of cute things that I'm doing just to kind of like I want to continue to date each other. I'm making dinners. I'm doing cute date nights just to I don't want him to run away again. I don't want him to run away. And it terrified me. So,
So what is like making you, I mean, because what you just told me, it sounds like things are pretty good. You came back from a great trip. So what's in your subconscious that's making you feel like he's going to leave?
just the simple fact that it had happened before.
So it's unresolved completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I felt like because he had told me he basically lived his entire life in survival, like fight or flight mode. It's weird because now I'm starting to feel that. Like I'm starting to feel this overwhelming like energy. I'm kind of like always on edge, waiting for the next shoe to drop. I'm scared to like kind of leave the house. And I don't even have a lot of friends left around me anymore. So even if I did have an opportunity to leave, I was kind of skeptical about taking it because I don't know. I was terrified, truly. I just wanted to get through the wedding. I did. So June is really a lot of just wedding planning stuff. And Dick is now working at Paychecks, right? But it's weird because initially he had started going into the office. Well, that's like tapered back now. He's not going into the office. But if you're not going to the office, you would think that I would see him pulling out his laptop and doing some work at home, making calls. That wasn't even happening. So I started getting calls from his supervisor, who was kind of like my equal. And he'd be like, hey, is Dick working? And I'd be like, babe, like, you have to log on. You have to do the minimal. Like, even if you're not really trying and this isn't, now you really don't want to do this, you don't want to get fired. So just do the bare minimum so it looks like you're working, and then we'll figure it out after the wedding and figure out what you want to do. So June 4th actually was our shower day that my girlfriend planned for me at her house. And she went above and beyond. It was like citrus themed. It was so cute. Everything that I could have asked for. We have all of our presents there. And I think before we head over, I had to go to the store for something without Dick. And I get a text from him. And he's like, hey, is it cool if I go to Vegas? Like, the guys are having a guys' night. I don't know, it was like UFC or sports. And I go, it's literally our wedding shower day. What do you mean?
Yeah.
And he's like, what? Why do I have to be there? It's a shower. And I'm like, it's not a baby shower. It's a wedding shower. It's for us. Our friends are going to be there.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been to a shower, mine included, where the husbands were not there.
And sometimes maybe like they're not there for the games, but then they come for the gifts.
Right.
Like they're
absolutely,
they have a presence at some point.
Yeah, literally everyone I've been to, the groom has been there. So
yeah,
whatever.
Dick. I was just like super irritated because my girlfriend had put a lot of time. She spent a lot of money, and like, it's our friends. We don't get to see our friends that much. So like, come along, show face. If they, I always was trying to set up an opportunity for him to like make a better impression than he had,
Yeah, did he end up going?
He did end up going.
Okay.
And so we got there, and we got there on time. And truthfully, this is like the most devastating thing up to this point. No one showed up. It was really sad.
Did they RSVP?
A few of them did. A lot of them didn't, and some people said no. But I think that we were expecting like maybe 10 people, and like nobody showed up. And I'm feeling bad about that because I'm like, okay, my friends fucking hate me. But then I feel even worse for my girlfriend who put all of this time in decorating and making this moment special for me. And I didn't want her to feel like she didn't do a good job. And so we really it was like my girlfriend, her fiance, Dick, and me. And we just like had a shower, like just us. And it was so strange.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
It was.
She's a solid friend though.
Yeah, I mean, she's great. And I'm
If
so
we weren't
thousands that
of states away or whatever.
Yeah,
sorry.
It was just really strange. But in the evening, the nightcap for that was that we actually, my favorite DJ besides Elenia, Morgan Page, was playing at Talking Stick Resort, which is like down the street. And so we wanted to go see Morgan Page. Okay. We ended up actually meeting up with like 3 or 4 of my friends there, which was cool because I'm like, okay, fine. Like, some people love me. Like, it's okay. And that was a good time. It was weird though. Again, so it's June. People are in there. It's outside by the pools where the stage was. So people are in their bathing suits. And so I'm in my bathing suit. Dick takes his shirt off, whatever. We're just kind of vibing to the music. And I just remember like Morgan Page is I'm not sure if it's house music. I don't know. Whatever it is. He has a lot of gay fans. And normally that's totally fine. But I remember all of these gay guys like walking. I'm dancing with Dick. And these gay guys are like walking past him and like grabbing his ass. And like, he's not really reacting.
Did he like it?
Dude, if any, like, if your husband got his ass grabbed.
It's actually happened. I mean, we're cool about it. It's
But
the mustache, I think.
Yeah,
You know what I
that must be
mean?
what
It's
it is.
that.
I don't know. I just kind of thought, based on how he has spoken about the gay community, like, I feel like he's homophobic. And I don't really like that about him, but I expected a response like that. So I was kind of like up in arms, like, okay, like, is there going to be a fight or whatever? But he just let
But
it
he
go
has so
by.
many friends in that community.
I
It's
know. It doesn't make sense.
conundrum.
Very, very,
Yeah.
very weird.
Okay.
So that was that night. I had fun and I danced all of the kind of embarrassment from the shower away.
Oh.
We are going through June and I get an email from my rental office like, rent's late. Now, Dick had been working at Paychecks for quite a while now. I hadn't seen any paychecks come through from that job, which is kind of strange.
Did you ask?
I did, and he said that he didn't get one yet. And I'm like, okay.
But you know how that works because you're getting
I'm working
paychecks
at
regularly.
the company. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I know that they're on schedule, that they're not behind. It's an HR company. You think they're just going to not pay you for 4 months, whatever.
So did you look into it?
I don't think that I did. I think that I was like, okay, yeah, it'll come. And then it just never came. I also thought he was having them deposited into our joint account and maybe that they were going into his personal. He probably gambled it, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that at the end of the day, but it's like, why are you getting a job to help out with everything if you're not like contributing at all? And I mean, to talk more about the gambling, we were gambling together still in the evenings. And one of the things I wanted to touch on here too is you would think that somebody who is kind of understanding now that their partner has a gambling problem would be like, stop gambling, right? Like, you shouldn't do that. If you follow like the addiction kind of thing, you're like,
yeah, you shouldn't enable it.
you shouldn't enable it. But for me, I felt like if I showed an interest in it, which I did, I started to really like it and I was kind of good at it. And then I would be gambling with him and I would see how much money he was gambling. So it wasn't this big question mark looming all the time. How much money is he spending? How much money does he have? Because he would, put together a bet and he'd be like, hey, babe, what do you think about this? And he'd show it to me and I'd be like, take that one off. And I don't know what, $500 on a 12-team parlay? Like maybe, like 100. So I was kind of able to like drive that a little bit.
Yeah, I guess I'm glad you clarified because in your mind, you were probably thinking, well, I'd rather be involved with it and have him tell me up front instead of hiding it. I mean, we know now talking about it, he was still probably gambling with you and without you.
100%.
But
which is the naive part of me not knowing that much about gambling addiction.
yeah.
It's an all day, every day kind of thing. And so I truly thought at that moment, it was like, oh, right now, these next 3 hours, this is our gambling time. Whatever he spends here is what he's gambling. And then I know I was really just trying to like alleviate that question mark in my mind on that topic, because I think at one point when we lived in the other house together, he had said something just point blank to me, like, I will never stop gambling. So don't ask me. And so I was like, all right, I can't ask him to stop gambling.
But at least you could have some sense of control over it.
Maybe. I think more so I just wanted to know how much money he was
Yeah, how much was
winning
going in
and
and out.
losing and
Yeah.
stuff like that, because that would give me a better idea as to why he wasn't able to contribute to the bills or to whatever, because it didn't make sense to me before. But now I have a better idea.
Right.
And he's excited in these moments. So he's really like highlighting, oh my gosh, we just won, $3,000. Okay. And I'm like this, cool, we can pay for things, So he's in a pretty happy mood. He's not working, but I'm assuming that he's getting paid. He's just not giving it to me. He's leaving me little love notes around. I was out for work one day at a client meeting or something in downtown Phoenix, and I came back and he wasn't there. And as you guys all know now, it's like this is a common theme, and it's scary for me. And in the moment when I come home and he's not there, it's
At a time, I'm assuming he's supposed to be there.
yeah, he was just he didn't say he was going anywhere.
Okay.
And I wasn't tracking him or anything like that. I was just assuming I was coming home to my fiance. And there's like a little note, and the note says, "I'll be back. I'm never leaving you." And it was on the fridge. And I'm like,
I'm not leaving you, but I just left.
like, what the fuck do you mean?
Oh, no.
You're never leaving me? I'm like, it's hard for me to understand why just telling me beforehand is not a thought that crosses his mind at all. Maybe it's because he thinks I'll say no, but like, fucking try it one time, please.
Okay, so where did he go?
He went to Vegas, where he always goes, because it was Matt's birthday. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, but like,
Why weren't you invited?
why wasn't I not like we just went to EDC with him. Like
Yeah.
he seems to like me. We talk about things like I don't understand. So we're having a text conversation. I'm a little bit pissed off, and I just decide that like fuck this, I'm going to go out. If he's going to leave me, then I'm going to go out, which I haven't really done in a while. So I like get all cute and I call up one of my girlfriends and I'm like, let's do something. Let's go get cocktails. Okay, fine. Yeah, let's do it. She's like, okay. So we head to a bar, and I think that I like took a picture of myself like looking all cute, and I sent it to him, and I was like going out for happy hour, and his response was so fucking weird. He was like, "Oh, enjoy happy hour. I'm going to fucking block you now."
What?
And I'm like, "Huh? What? I'm with my girlfriend. It's just us." Like now I'm like explaining to him like, "Don't be mad. It's okay." And he's like, "Oh, like you don't have any friends, and you're on my ass and up my ass and around me all the time, and you don't ever go out by yourself. I never have a minute alone, and then the minute that I leave, you get all like hot and go to happy hour." He's like, "Fuck you." And I'm like, "Wow." And then he blocks me. And the abandonment and the blocking like trigger something physical in my body to like where I can't really think. I start like kind of shaking, tremoring, my hands, I'm sweating so bad, and I'm just in this fog of panic. And it feels horrible. And now I was just trying to go out and have a good time with my girlfriend who I haven't seen in a while.
And especially because you're sad because you just left.
Yeah.
So you're just trying to, yeah.
I sent the picture to him because I wanted him to see like, hey, I'm not upset about you going. Look at, even I'm going to go out and it's okay. And it completely backfired on me. And I was like,
got exactly what he wanted. He just literally picked a fight with you and blamed you for no reason, scared you. And now he can do whatever he wants because that's how I just took it, hearing this. And it pisses me off. But
yeah, he even like proceeded to unblock me and like send 2 texts that were like so fucking cruel. They were like, you're always up my ass and you're making me miserable even when I'm not there. He's like, how are you so debilitatingly insecure that you need to be constantly up my ass? Like it's so crazy. Blocks me again. Oh my gosh.
So he just succeeded in ruining your night. That's awesome.
Yeah, like thank you. So the next day, he had unblocked me and reshared his location. And in hindsight, I look back at all of these moments when he did this, and I was like, he just needed someone to talk to. That's why he did that. It wasn't because he was sorry. There was never a sorry. Like,
well, it makes me think, what the fuck was he doing all night that he felt like he got you back and could unblock you again? I don't know, just my crazy head, but...
I mean, I think that I saw on like Matt's social media that he went out to a really nice dinner, and it was like him, Matt, and Dick, and then somebody maybe from the casino, whatever. But I was just so angry that night. I think I just went to bed really early, And so the next day, he's just telling me about the dinner and acting as if nothing had happened. And then he tells me that the Hawaii sugar daddy is ironically in Las Vegas.
Oh, how ironic.
I'm like, oh, wow, that's so, wow, the stars have aligned? What do you mean? I'm like, okay, so are you going to see him? So, like, let's pause here for a second. I told that guy on the phone, please stop, because it makes me uncomfortable and this is our relationship. And now he's there and I'm like, okay, like I'm asking Dick, are you going to see him? Because apparently you're telling me about it because you're going to go see him, right? And he's like, yeah, he's going to take me shopping.
Okay, I need clarification really quick.
Yes.
So I'm assuming all of, at this point in this story now, like these are not friends, these are clients. Obviously, you keep calling them sugar daddies. So
Yeah.
are you, everyone has to get something out of some exchange. So are you assuming that Dick's exchange in this is just photos, or do you have any inclination that he's actually an escort? Because now at this point, I feel like there's enough questions that you can
Yeah.
address where your head's at there.
Totally. So I had asked initially when I uncovered anything relating to escorting if it was physical. Like, and I know that that sounds stupid because everyone is like, yeah, of course they're physical, Amanda. But like, I'm like, okay, this person's going to take you shopping. What do they get out of it? And
Yeah.
his response was companionship.
Okay.
Like,
Elaborate.
he was like, these guys are just like not cute, like just kind of ugly, homely, but rich gay guys. And, you know, Dick being the person he is like, I'm hot and people look at me and the guys enjoy everyone looking at them thinking, oh, wow, look at that guy with this hot stud.
So you really think that it's like an arm candy situation?
At that point, yeah.
But why?
Because I couldn't fathom the fact that he would do anything like that. I couldn't even wrap my head around knowing that he had done similar stuff in the past, but he had shown me that like he was remorseful and regretful about that. He's going to church, like we're getting married. The one thing that he always said, he was like, I will never cheat on you. I will never, ever cheat on you. And he even backed it up by saying, I've cheated on most of the women that I've been with. And this is I'm being different and I'm being better because I love you. And so I always just went back to that. And I'm like, okay, like maybe I understand that.
But at this time, like, did he admit when you talk about like his past stuff that he had sexual experiences with men as well as women?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So he had told me that
But now he's saying he does not ever do that.
Correct. In the past, he said that the sexual experiences that he had had with men, he got paid a fuck ton of money to do it, and he never wanted to do it. But that was not something that he ever wanted to do again because he's straight, you know? Okay. So that's really where my head was at with it. Like, I didn't want him to even go shopping with this person because it made me uncomfortable because I felt like they were predatorial. Really. Truthfully, I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe you just think that it's companionship. But to me, because I had had similar experiences, sugar dating and whatnot, even if someone said it's just companionship, you know that they're asking the whole time you're a companion to them, hey, do you want to go back to the room? Or, you know, like, let's go to the car. Like, they're always like kind of prompting stuff that I know I didn't want. And so again, this is like sparking like the protective. And I'm like,
But you're assuming that Dick has boundaries?
yes,
With these?
I'm assuming that he has boundaries, and I'm assuming that what he's telling me is the truth. And I know that that might sound stupid from the outside, but like I couldn't even mentally picture him doing anything with a man, let alone this fucking guy.
Right. And like, I also think it's a good point that you've brought up multiple times. You guys had a really healthy sex
Yeah,
life. So,
absolutely. I didn't really feel like he was ever lacking in that area. Sex twice a day, every day, like BJ's and everything sprinkled in spontaneously. Like,
Jesus, girl.
dude, dude was happy and outwardly fulfilled, let's just say. So I
Okay,
couldn't see
so,
I couldn't see that was happening.
all right. So he's shopping with Hawaii Sugar Daddy.
Yes. And
What
that
does he get on this shopping
Oh,
spree?
dude, it's so weird. He sent me, like, they went to, like, Neiman Marcus and, like, Nordstrom, and he's sending me the receipts, like, showing me. And I'm like,
What a dick.
why? Why are you doing this? Because, again, financial situation, I haven't been able to get my hair done, to get my nails done, to shop for myself in months. There's packages showing up for him every day at the door, but not for me.
Yeah,
And
and that's
now,
not vain because girl needs to get her hair done.
yeah,
So,
like, I mean,
yeah.
you got to take care of yourself so you feel good and whatever. So he was staying, remember now, he's there for Matt's birthday, and he's staying at Matt's house, which I'm familiar with. That night, he doesn't go back to Matt's house. His location, the last time I talked to him, he was out, and then his location ends up at a hotel.
Ugh,
And
sorry.
I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm
Yeah.
freaking out. And I'm like, I'm going to drive to Las Vegas. This is insane. I noticed that the hotel is a Marriott hotel. And I remember back to the one from the Florida abandonment. That was also a Marriott hotel. So I'm thinking, okay, Sugar Daddy is a Bonvoy member.
Oh my gosh, wait, you do not drive to Vegas, do you?
I don't know. Thank God. I know. I wish I would.
Okay,
But
okay.
I did.
But yeah.
I was kind of crazy in that moment too, because I'm freaking the fuck out. I'm like, is he in that room with this fucking guy? Like,
Yeah,
I'm
he is,
losing my
for
mind.
sure.
So
But-
I text Matt and I was like, why is Dick at a hotel? Did you guys get in a fight? What's going on? Explain. And he's like, I don't know. I haven't talked to him. I'm like, fucking unlikely, you lying piece of shit. And then I don't hear from either one of them. In the morning, the next morning, I got just bitched out from Dick. Why would you call Matt? And you're fucking crazy. And I'm like, why the fuck are you at a hotel?
Yeah, I need his explanation immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I do too. But it's like, we just really never get it.
Really? So, but don't you think when he comes home, like, don't you, I mean, you have
I
to
think-
know he was in the hotel with Hawaii guy, right?
I think he said that he wanted to stay in a hotel, that he didn't want to stay with Matt because Matt was like pissing him off. And so that the Hawaii guy was like, okay, here you go.
Bought him a separate room.
Yeah, that's
Oh, okay.
And I know. It's
I know,
like,
I'm sorry.
I don't know if
we
it's
know, we just know now, but
Yeah, in hindsight, again, 2020, I think that like all of this is really me just avoiding fights because like the wedding day for me is not the finish line, but it's the finish line of this chapter. And I'm like, I want to get to it so bad. And I just feel like everything's going to be so much better and different after that because that's a covenant and like it's a big deal. And so I just really didn't want to ruffle any feathers there.
yeah, it doesn't
So-
help that he texts you first thing in the morning and before you can even be mad, he gets mad at you for something. That's
It's like
sick.
always happening. So he was supposed to come home the following day and he was supposed to be home in the morning. And actually, weirdly enough, he actually went to like a friend of one of my close friends in Vegas, went to his house and they had like a shaman come over and they did DMT.
without you?
One, I don't
Oh.
ever want to do DMT. I mean, do you want to explain to listeners like what DMT is? Like
Oh gosh, can we get Frankie on the line? No,
mean, so
I haven't listened to enough Joe Rogan to give that explanation. But
From
yeah.
my understanding, DMT is a secretion from like a Sonoran toad, and like you smoke it, and you're supposed to have like 5 minutes of just like otherworldly experiences.
Yeah, with like a guy. who
There's like
takes
a
you on
little guy, right? It's
train.
like a
Yeah.
gnome or like an angel.
Let's go through your brain.
Yeah. And then afterwards, you're supposed to kind of like mushrooms have this like better understanding of who you are and what your purpose is and stuff. So he wanted to do that because the mushrooms have been so great for him. And so he does that. and he recorded it and he sent it to me, and I was like,
Please, oh, I have to see this video later.
yeah, I'll show you.
Okay.
It's
Can you
so
explain
weird.
it?
I think in the video, so he smokes a DMT. The shaman is like sitting there, like kind of holding his hands, and it takes like maybe like all 5 seconds to kick in. So once it kicks in, they want you to like lay back. So you see him like slowly laying back. And I'm pretty sure that he was slowly whispering like the whole time he was like quote unquote under. He was like saying like love, love, like something like saying the word love like over and over again. And I'm like,
What?
okay. And it didn't really last
Yeah.
long because
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, he's sitting back up and he's like, wow, that was crazy. But mentally, it's supposed to seem like a lot longer than it actually is. And what he had said was that there was like two angels and they were like kind of holding his hands and like kind of guiding him through stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay, that seems similar to like what I've seen on documentaries. Like, how do you feel? He's like, I feel good. I feel good. I'm coming home.
Interesting.
Okay.
Okay.
So he shows up with, 97 bags of designer clothes. I would say probably about $3,000 worth of just really, really nice designer shit, golf clothes, Tom Ford, cologne, just everything. And
So is he gonna sell all that and help you pay rent, or?
no, it's his. It's so he could look so great. Do you think at some point when you're going shopping with a sugar daddy and you have a fiance at home that has not been able to shop or do anything, that you would be like, let's just get one thing nice for her? One thing. Never. And I'm like, that just always really, really pissed me off. And
Yeah,
then
I more wish he would just sell it and help with his bare minimum,
yeah,
honestly.
it's
Yeah.
true. Ironically, I think the day after he got back was his final like custom suit fitting, which he looked fantastic in, and he was supposed to pay for the other part of it, but I don't think that he had any cash. So I think that I had to kind of tell the guy, "Oh, I'll get you the rest before the wedding day. Like, don't worry, I got it." So we're around the middle of June now, and my mom wanted to come in just to kind of help prep with everything. So I think we're like June 15th. She comes in and she just wanted to make sure like whatever last minute things needed to be done, she was there for us. So she was staying at our house. And so she's at the house. And one night, I think that I got an email maybe. And it was something about OnlyFans. And I click on it, and the profile, his profile for OnlyFans is up and active, and it says that he has been on it in like the last 30 minutes. What the fuck?
And he's home right now?
He's home. He's downstairs with my mom. I'm upstairs.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, we didn't talk about this. Again, I'm not an anti OnlyFans, but like, we should have a conversation if you're going to start diving back into this. So I subscribed to it. I think it was like $9.99. And I'm looking, and there was photos posted within the last hour. And they're just flat out dick pics.
Oh my God. So you and your mom are chilling downstairs and he's
downstairs with
Okay.
my mom. I'm upstairs. I'm like, what the fuck? So I take a screenshot of it. I send it to him. I'm still upstairs. I send it to him and I'm like, what the fuck? And he's like, I didn't post those. And I go, what do you mean you didn't post those? And he's like, well, I'm having someone manage my OnlyFans, and like those are old pictures. First question, why do you have OnlyFans again? And we didn't talk about this. 2, I can tell that those aren't old pictures. I know your dick. Also, my bedding is in the picture.
No. Oh no.
Like, dude, the
Oh my
worst lies.
gosh.
I'm like, take that down right now. He's like, I'm so pissed at. Okay, because let me explain this too. In the FinDom kind of space, financial domination, there are people who want to be dominated by an alpha straight, quote unquote, male who are gay men. And if they don't have money, what do they give him in exchange for his domination? Well, some of them give their time or their service. There was one in particular, a guy who lives here in Illinois, okay, who was like a poor dude. Very weird, lives in the mom's basement kind of guy. And he was like a techie guy. So he was always the one previously, before we had met, kind of managing Dick's socials and stuff for that. And he was like telling me that this guy was doing it again. And I'm like, well, fucking tell him to stop and take that down right now. What are you doing? Okay. So I'm kind of pissed. We're not really talking. I go to bed. I wake up the next morning. I'm working. It's midweek. My mom's still there. He's supposed to be working, but he's not. And I have to take a call, and I have to take it in our office. I have to present. So I close the door, and I'm presenting. And I think that it was probably like 45 minutes to an hour that I was in there. So I finish up my call, and I come out, just kind of expecting them both to be in the living room, whatever. And my mom's just like sitting there on the couch. And I'm like, where's Dick? And she's like, oh, well, I don't know. He was kind of in and out, but like maybe he's outside. Okay, we live in like a kind of an apartment complex. So what would he be doing outside? He's in the garage working on something? Like, no. And I grab my phone because I'm starting to get this terrified feeling. And his location isn't on. And my stomach drops. And I'm like, there's no possible way at all that he could be abandoning me right now, like with my mom in the living room. Like, there's no way.
Yeah. And how long is this after you guys get in the confrontation about his page being back up?
One day.
So within the day.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that was the night before. This was kind of the next morning. And I was like, what was he doing when I was on the call? I'm asking my mom, and she's like, I don't know. He was just in and out. I wasn't really like paying attention. But mind you, like where she's sitting in the living room is probably 30 feet to the front door. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I can't find his location. So I have no shoes on, and I like run outside frantically and like I'm freaking out that I'm wrong. Like he's not doing this again. Absolutely no way. Like I'm starting to have my panic attack moment feeling. And I get out there, his car's gone. Open the garage, it's not in there. And I'm like, oh my God. And as I'm walking back to the house to like grab my car keys, because like I'm gonna go find him. Like I am in this zone that I'm panicking. I look at the Ring doorbell, and the previous like last hour, he legitimately moved basically all of his clothing out the front door while my mom was sitting on the couch.
Oh my God.
Like you can see him coming in and out and putting the clothes in like the little grocery wagon that we have and pulling them and then coming back and like kind of like on his phone. Like, but like.
He totally planned this and waited for you to be on that call to not be watching him. Yeah, for sure.
Oh my God. It was, and like, I don't know, maybe because I'm a fucking normal person, but I would assume that if you're going to be like about to abandon like the person you're going to marry within the next 6 days, the look on your face while you're doing it would have some sort of emotion showing. Like it would be like, oh, maybe pensive. I don't know if I should do this, or like happy, like you're going to get away. And like, there's no emotion on his face, like flat affect, just like a machine, taking stuff into the house, putting it into the car, back, forth, maybe 5 trips. Like I was so confused how my mom couldn't have seen that.
Yeah. What do you tell her when you get back?
I'm like, he took all of his stuff. How did you not see that? And she's like, I just wasn't paying attention. The way the door opened, I guess like it opened so that it kind of blocked the doorway from the stairs, because the stairs kind of walked straight out of the door. She's like, but I don't know what I thought he was doing. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go and try and find him because this is crazy. He cannot be doing this. And I literally grabbed my keys and my phone, still no shoes on. And I ran to my Jeep and I just started like driving around. And I'm trying to text him. And finally, one of my texts goes through. And I get a text back. So I'm like, where are you? Please don't do this. Like, how could you possibly be doing this? We're getting married in 6 days. Like, I'm freaking out. And I get a text back from him, and it's long. And this is verbatim what it says. I am sad and sorry. I packed up as much as I reasonably could. I love you, but I don't think I can get married to you. You're the best person I've ever dated. But I still feel like my heart aches every day in deep depression, and I am in worse shape financially, emotionally, physically, and spiritually than I was when I met you. This is in no way to blame you because it's not your fault, but I can't ignore the fact that I want to kill myself or die often when I've never felt that before you. I'm so sorry.
Jesus.
And so there's so many emotions wrapped up in that. And like, truth be told, like right now, like my heart is beating like it's happening again. The PTSD surrounding this and everything else after that is so real, and I'm still going through it. So sorry if I'm like a little bit winded. It's hard for me to hear that he's saying that he's suicidal because I didn't know that. And while I knew that he was kind of sad here and there and he was unhappy with where he was at in life, like I had no idea that the person that I love, that I'm giving so much love to, that he's literally, it doesn't matter. Like he's in the mental state that he's like, I want to die. Made me feel so bad about myself, and also like, again, protective, or just like overly empathetic to him. But then again, you're not telling me any of this. So I'm not aware. You're not communicating how you feel at all. Now you've just left me. So I'm in the car, and we lived basically off of the main highway that you drive on for 100 miles to get to Vegas. And so now I have a communication line. I'm not blocked. And I'm like, please just pull over. Like, let me talk to you. I'm not gonna beg you to stay if you want to go, but like you're just gonna end all of it. People are already here for our wedding. Like, what do you mean? And he was like, no, I can't pull over. Like, I just gotta go. And I was like, Dick. And I thought of the fact that there's like the Mormon temple was like kind of like on the way. Like I assumed he hadn't gotten to it yet. I'm like, just meet me at the temple. Like, just meet me there because I'm going to go there because I'm really like lost and fucked up right now. And like, I need to pray on this because I don't know what I should do. And I'm like, I'll be there if you want to meet me there. And he didn't say yes or no. I picked up, so that was a text conversation. I picked up the phone and I called his mom and I called our bishop. And his mom was basically like, I can't believe he's doing this again. Because I had told her in the past, I thought everything was okay. She's like, just breathe and, go to the temple and pray. Like, she's very like godly woman. And so she's like, just go there. No matter what happens, like it'll be good if you go there. Okay. So call the bishop. He kind of says along the same lines. The bishop was actually like, how about I'm going to try and reach out to him. And I think he did. I think he called Dick and was like, you should meet Amanda at the temple. Like, do something, like be a man. And if you don't want to be with her, then say it to her face, but like also in front of God kind of thing. And so
Holding him accountable.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
and that's the thing, is like he's never held accountable. He just does things and then he moves on from, but everything that's left in the wake of his actions has to sort itself out. Like, that's not okay. Almost a 30-year-old man,
Yeah.
So
does he meet you?
yeah, so I got to the temple and I think I waited like in my car for probably like 15 minutes, and he did show up, and I felt like an overwhelming like sigh of relief. But I didn't know if it was like, okay, he's here and he's changed his mind and he's going to come home, or if it's he's here and he's going to now tell me to my face. So I was also like, again, nervous. And it's weird because this is a person I sleep next to every night. And now I'm like on pins and needles, like to see, I was nervous to get out of the car and see him. So I get out of the car and I have no shoes on. And like I'm in the most baggy clothes ever. And we walk up the temple grounds and we're sitting on one of the benches. And it's almost embarrassing because there's people coming in and out of the temple like dressed in dress clothes, like, and I look like a homeless person, and I'm crying, and we're just sitting there and we're talking like, I didn't know that you were so sad. I'm so sorry. Like, if you would have told me about this, we could have figured it out together. We really started, the conversation really took I guess, like, was centered around the fact that I have always strived for us to be a we. And it's like he fought that every opportunity that he could, didn't refer to us as we. It was always I, me, or, Amanda, like never even us. And I'm like, if you can subscribe to this idea that like we're one, and that's the whole point of being in love and supporting each other, is that if you need something, like I'll help you. Like that's why I said yes to you asking me to marry you. It's like I want to be there from you. I want to lift you up. And despite everything, and I said this, I was like, despite everything that people have told me, that I have found out myself, I'm still choosing you. And it doesn't feel good that you don't think that that's worth anything. And like a common theme of our deep discussions is really like I'm talking a lot and he's not really saying anything. He's kind of just stoically staring, whatever. But he talked, and he was, talking about his feelings, and he was alluding, I'm in worst financial situation and all of this kind of stuff. And I was like, you're the one gambling. All of the problems that you just listed are 100% your responsibility. And do you think that you're going to go run off to Las Vegas and continue the life that you're doing and meet somebody else, and you're not going to bring those same problems into that relationship or whatever the fuck else happens? And I'm just being very factual. Like, if you don't fix that, it's going to follow you every single place that you go. And so you have the choice to say, I want to fix myself for myself, but also for my marriage. And isn't that worth something? You're just going to throw away all of the shit that we've gotten through. And you're like, it didn't make any sense to me. And I mean, I don't know. I guess I plead my case good enough, right? Because he was like, okay, let's go home.
Wow.
And I think we probably sat out there for a good 2 hours. My mom is calling me. She doesn't know what's going on. She knows that someone fucking hurt her daughter. So now we're going to go back to my house and unpack the car and it back into the house in front of her, when he just was very discreetly trying to abandon me again.
Right. And I bet you're even scared because I'm sure mom's, initial response is, I'm going to stick up for my daughter. And
Right.
You're worried if you set him off again, he might just run out the door again.
Totally.
Oh, no.
I didn't really know what to expect when I walked back in, but I walked back in first, and she was like, is he here? And I'm like, yes, but please, Mom, like, don't freak out. Like, I was like, just, we'll all talk about it. And we did. We had a conversation, and she was being very motherly, like, this can't happen. You can't do this, whatever. So that was really, really a bad day for me. And when I tell you that abandonment is something that I didn't really realize was a trauma of mine, like fear of abandonment, I knew now for sure that like it was an issue for me, not only from childhood, but it's from this. This was going to be a moment that was so fucking ingrained in my brain that I knew I was going to have to go to therapy to get over it, because I was already feeling like if I leave, he's going to leave. And now, like, he was ready to dip out in front of my mom a few days before we got married. And I just, I don't know. I felt like this like hole in my soul because I was like, I don't ever want to feel like I can't trust him. But I was feeling that. I was like, I can't trust him. And this is really scary because we're getting married now in 5 days. And I think we kind of were by ourselves away from my mom for the rest of the evening. And we went upstairs and I was like, I think we need to just be very transparent with each other here because there are things that you're doing that is not okay with me. And we're getting married and you chose to stay. Thank you for that. But like, we need to get it all out on the table. And he just kind of starts like word vomiting. And he's like, I'm not happy with my job at Paychex. I don't enjoy it. And you're right. Like, I should have told you that I started the OnlyFans up. And the reason that I did that is because that's just so easy for me. And I'm like, okay, thank you for talking. Like, thanks for speaking. How can we make this work to where I don't feel like you're always hiding stuff from me and always going to be running away? And I said, and also, I don't want you to feel like you're suicidal. Like, what is that stemming around? And he's like, I think a lot of it has to do with finances. And I'm like, okay, I can understand that. Money's a huge trigger for me. And I just thought in that moment, I'm like, what do I know about this person who I'm going to marry? Well, I know that he's very charismatic and can be a very likable person. I know that he just said that OnlyFans and everything is very easy for him and that he has made a lot of money in the past. Like, he's alluding like, before I met you, I was real good financially. Well, what was he doing before he met me? He was doing OnlyFans.
Yeah.
I didn't ask him to stop, but he did. And I was like, okay, how about this? And I said this. I said, I think you should quit Paychex. And I don't know if I'm going to regret saying this, but I think that you should do the adult content stuff. Like, it's easy for you. You don't have any like emotional attachment to these people, right? And he's like, no. And I'm like, so it's basically just like you're an actor. You can work 8 to 5 or whatever it is and be Brett Michaels and then be done with it. And you can come back and be Dick for me. And as long as you promise me, like promise to God that it's not gonna, I don't know, spiral into something where I start getting jealous or whatever, I'm okay with that. Like, there are people who are porn stars and they're married, like he's not saying, I'm like, please, no physical stuff. Like, if anybody would think it was cheating, I would think it was cheating. And so no physical stuff. Okay. Like, no in-person meetups, like nothing like that. But if you can promise me, like, we can make this actually like a business, because that's how my mind thinks. It's like, I already think it's sketch. How do I legitify it?
Yeah. You're such a doll. You're coming at him with empathy, understanding, trying to find out what his strengths are, letting Dick be Dick, and making it legit. Like, I think that's awesome, honestly.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people in the past have questioned whether or not I have known about all of the stuff that he did or does or, is currently doing. And the answer to that is always like, prior to me, I didn't have all the details. During me, after I was like, hey, because like I said, I'm the one who initiated it. I just wanted him to be happy and not feel so sad and depressed and suicidal. He was very transparent with everything that he was doing. And it was like taboo stuff. So I really believed that there wasn't anything that I didn't know about with it.
Well, it's like, I think if you have people judging you and saying that it's not white or black, it's super gray. They didn't know what your guys' boundaries were and what you were okay with and not okay with. And to me, it sounds like you said, okay, you're an actor and I'm cool with this. You're happy, but my line that I'm drawing is physical intimacy. And I think that the way you described that to me, you made that really clear that evening, right?
Yeah. Uh, Like, I don't want you to go on physical dates. I
Okay.
don't want people to think that they can touch you. I also think that I put a boundary in line that, like, I wanted it to be widely known that he was married to a woman. Like, I include me and our life into it so that it's real and so that people know that they can't fuck with you like that. And so I just felt like moving forward, things were gonna be better. And he also kind of like had this weird exclamation of like almost like exaggerated sigh. And he's like, ah. And I'm like, what? And he's like, this whole time, you didn't even ask me to stop doing it. I thought I was doing something good for us by stopping. And in reality, the last year of our lives has been miserable because I thought that you didn't accept that. And I was like, no, babe, like, this is communication.
Mm-hmm.
If he would have been better at communicating at the beginning, would we have been in the financial situation we were in from the very start? I don't know. Like, I truthfully don't know. But like, I felt for him because I could see like the misconception and the want to have a normal 9 to 5. But at the end of the day, it's just not who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of where we leave off before the wedding. Really, is more clarity, almost more hope, because now we're going to be doing something that he's familiar with, that he knows is successful.
And now you're doing it as a team.
And we're doing it as a team.
And you're going to make him legit.
Yes.
Not a scammer anymore.
Not a scammer.
Well, fuck you out of that.
Right?
We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see is right. Hey everyone. Thank you for listening to episode 3, Electric Daisy Abandonment. Please don't forget to follow and review and share with your friends. This part of my relationship was a really difficult time for me. I was starting to get really beat down mentally and emotionally. The blows kept coming closer and closer together, but now the trauma bond was stronger than ever. Not only do we have similar backstories, but now we've gotten through hard times that make me feel even more emotionally connected to him, and also slightly responsible for his happiness. Understanding the impact that a toxic relationship can have on you is what I want to emphasize here, because I had no idea. Do yourself a favor and let my misjudgments be a guidebook on what not to do. Next week, in episode 4, you'll learn how my dream wedding transforms into an emergency room nightmare.